If you are over 60 and your blood pressure is highest in the morning, right after you wake up, what happens in the hours before that moment matters more than most people realize. And tonight, before you go to sleep, there is something specific you could drink that clinical evidence indicates directly supports your body's natural blood pressure reset cycle. Not a medication, not a supplement you need a prescription for, a drink. One you can make in your kitchen in under 2 minutes. But here's what makes this genuinely important and why most people never hear about it. Your blood pressure follows a precise biological rhythm during sleep, and if that rhythm is disrupted, which it is, in a very specific way for most adults over 60, your cardiovascular system pays the price every single night. Stay with me until the end, because the fifth drink on this list is the one that most cardiologists reach for themselves, and it is probably not what you are expecting. Before we go any further, if nobody has ever told you this before, your health deserves attention. I upload a new video every single week covering the things your doctor often doesn't have time to explain. Hit subscribe and tap that bell so you never miss what could be keeping you healthy. Now, let's talk about what's really happening inside your body. A quick but important note. The information in this video is for educational purposes only. It is not intended as medical advice, and it does not replace your personal physician. Always consult your doctor before making any changes to your health routine, especially if you are currently on blood pressure medication. Never adjust your medication dosage based on anything you see in this video. That said, being informed is your first line of defense, and that's exactly what we're here to do. Here is something your blood pressure monitor cannot show you, but your cardiovascular system knows intimately. Your blood pressure is not the same number all day. It rises, falls, and follows a pattern that is tied directly to your sleep cycle. In a healthy cardiovascular system, blood pressure drops by 10 to 20% during deep sleep. Cardiologists call this nocturnal dipping, and it is one of the most important things your heart does every single night. Think of it like a factory that runs at full capacity all day, and then the night shift comes in to repair the machinery. That repair window is your blood pressure dip. Without it, the machinery accumulates damage with no recovery time. Here is what the research found. A landmark study published in the journal Hypertension followed over 3,000 adults across 8 years. The finding was stark. Adults who failed to achieve this nighttime blood pressure dip had a significantly higher risk of cardiovascular events, stroke, and kidney damage than those whose blood pressure dropped normally during sleep. Non-dipping. The failure to lower blood pressure at night is not rare. After 60, it becomes increasingly common, and most people have no idea it is happening because they only measure their blood pressure during the day. Now here is where it gets important. What you consume in the 2 to 3 hours before bed has a direct and measurable impact on whether your body achieves that overnight dip. Specific drinks, taken at the right time, can support the physiological conditions your body needs to lower blood pressure during sleep. And specific habits, ones you might currently think are harmless, are actively preventing that dip from happening. I'm going to walk you through 5 drinks today. After each one, I will explain the mechanism, the research behind it, and exactly how and when to consume it for maximum cardiovascular benefit. Let's begin. Drink 1, Hibiscus Tea, and why it works in a way that most blood pressure advice completely misses. Here is the alarming part. Your blood pressure rises during the evening, partly because of a hormone called aldosterone, a steroid hormone produced by your adrenal glands that tells your kidneys to retain sodium. More sodium retained means more fluid in circulation. More fluid means higher pressure. Most people think blood pressure medication is the only way to address this mechanism. Wrong. There is a plant compound that acts on the same pathway, and you can drink it tonight. Think of it like a valve on a water pipe. Aldosterone turns the valve toward retention. Hibiscus compounds, specifically the anthocyanins and flavonoids in dried hibiscus, act as natural ACE inhibitors, helping to ease that valve back toward balance. Here's what the research found. A randomized controlled trial published in the Journal of Nutrition found that adults who drank 2 cups of hibiscus tea daily showed a clinically meaningful reduction in systolic blood pressure within 6 weeks. The reduction was most pronounced in adults over 55 with stage 1 hypertension. This is why hibiscus is one of the few plant-based interventions that cardiologists reference in peer-reviewed literature when discussing non-pharmacological blood pressure supports. The action. Brew 1 strong cup of dried hibiscus tea, not hibiscus blend, not fruit tea with hibiscus flavoring, specifically dried hibiscus petals, steeped for 8 to 10 minutes in hot water. Drink it 1 hour before bed, unsweetened or with a small amount of honey if needed. One important note: if you take blood pressure medication, consult your physician before adding hibiscus regularly. Because it can lower pressure meaningfully, the combination may require monitoring. In about 5 minutes, I'm going to show you something about magnesium and sleep that directly explains why your blood pressure is highest in those first moments after you wake up, and what you can do about it tonight. Drink 2 warm Tart Cherry Juice, and the connection to blood pressure that almost no one talks about. This is the part that surprises people. Your blood pressure spikes at night and fails to dip for multiple reasons. One of the most overlooked is poor sleep architecture, specifically the failure to reach adequate deep sleep. During light or disrupted sleep, your sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight system, remains partially activated. Think of it like leaving your car engine running all night in the garage. The system never fully powers down, and a nervous system that stays activated keeps blood pressure elevated. Here is what the research found. A study published in the European Journal of Nutrition found that adults who consumed Tart Cherry Juice twice daily showed measurable improvements in sleep duration and sleep efficiency, associated with lower nocturnal blood pressure compared to the placebo group. The mechanism is specific. Tart cherries are one of the few natural dietary sources of melatonin, the hormone that signals the brain to begin the physiological wind-down that enables deep sleep. They also contain proanthocyanidins, compounds that reduce vascular inflammation overnight. This is why you sometimes wake at 2 a.m. and cannot return to sleep, and then feel that your morning blood pressure reading is your worst of the day. Light sleep means activated nervous system. Activated nervous system means blood pressure that never truly recovered. The action: 8 ounces of unsweetened Tart Cherry Juice, not sweet cherry, not a cherry blend. Specifically, Montmorency Tart Cherry Juice, which contains the highest natural melatonin concentration of any commercially available cherry variety. Drink it 90 minutes before bed. Give it 2 weeks of consistent use before assessing the effect. Drink 3 warm magnesium water, and why this is the one most people are missing. Let me pause here because this matters. After 60, magnesium deficiency is extraordinarily common. Here is what the research found. The NIH estimates that up to 68% of adults in the United States do not meet their daily magnesium requirement. And after 60, kidney efficiency declines in a way that causes the body to excrete more magnesium in urine than it retains. Magnesium is not optional for blood pressure. Your blood vessel walls are lined with smooth muscle cells. Those cells require magnesium to relax. Without adequate magnesium, blood vessel walls remain in a state of partial constriction, even during sleep. Think of it like a clenched fist that has forgotten how to fully open. No matter how calm the rest of the body becomes, the grip stays tight. Magnesium is what tells the fist to release. Here is what the research found. A meta-analysis published in the journal Hypertension, involving over 34 trials and more than 2,000 participants, found that magnesium supplementation produced a statistically significant reduction in both systolic and diastolic blood pressure. The effect was strongest in adults who were already deficient, which, after 60, is likely you. This is why you wake with stiff muscles. This is why you have those nighttime leg cramps. This is why your blood pressure is higher in the morning than your evening readings suggested it should be. Your blood vessels spent the night partially contracted. The action? Dissolve 200 to 300 milligrams of magnesium glycinate or magnesium citrate in warm water and drink it 30 minutes before bed. Not magnesium oxide. That form is poorly absorbed and primarily affects the digestive system, specifically glycinate or citrate, because these forms cross into the bloodstream efficiently and reach the smooth muscle cells in your arterial walls. Write this down. Magnesium glycinate, 200 to 300 milligrams, warm water, 30 minutes before bed. Please discuss with your physician if you have kidney disease, as magnesium clearance is impaired in renal conditions. And now here is where it builds, because in about 3 minutes, I'm going to share the reframe that changes how you understand everything about nighttime blood pressure. And it is going to contradict something your doctor may have implied, without meaning to mislead you. Before I reveal the final 2 drinks, I want to ask you something. In the comments below, right now, write down which of these first 3 drinks have you already tried. Write the number, just the number, 1, 2, or 3. You will be amazed at how many people respond. I read every single comment, and sometimes your answer helps someone else take their first step. Now, let's continue. Drink 4, warm golden milk, and the anti-inflammatory mechanism your cardiovascular system needs overnight. Here is what nobody tells you about inflammation and blood pressure. Blood pressure is not simply a plumbing problem. High pressure is not just about too much fluid in too narrow a pipe. After 60, one of the primary drivers of sustained elevated blood pressure is chronic vascular inflammation, the slow, persistent irritation of arterial walls that keeps them stiffened, narrowed, and reactive. Think of it like a road that has been under construction for years. The lane closures are permanent. The traffic, your blood, never moves as freely as it should. And no amount of medication fully reopens a road that is structurally congested. Here is what the research found. A review published in the journal Nutrients analyzed curcumin's effect on vascular function across multiple clinical trials. The finding was consistent. Curcumin, the active compound in turmeric, measurably reduced markers of vascular inflammation, including CRP and interleukin, in adults with metabolic and cardiovascular risk factors. Reduced vascular inflammation means more compliant arterial walls. More compliant walls means blood moves with less resistance. Less resistance means lower pressure, naturally, over time. Golden milk is warm, plant-based milk, almond, oat, or full-fat coconut, with half a teaspoon of turmeric, a pinch of black pepper, and a small amount of ginger. The black pepper is not optional. It contains piperine, which increases curcumin absorption by up to 2,000%. Without it, most of the turmeric passes through without being absorbed. The action. 1 cup of warm golden milk 45 minutes before bed. Use half a teaspoon of turmeric, a pinch of black pepper, half a teaspoon of ginger. Sweeten lightly with honey if needed. Give it 3 to 4 weeks of consistent nightly use. Curcumin is not a fast-acting compound, but its effects on arterial compliance are documented and cumulative. Drink 5, and this is the reframe this entire video has been building toward. Most people believe that the most important time to manage blood pressure is during the day, when it is highest, when they can feel it, when the readings concern them. I believed that for a long time too. Then I encountered a body of research from the MAPEC study, the Monitorización Ambulatoria para Predicción de Eventos Cardiovasculares study, conducted at the University of Vigo in Spain and published in the journal Chronobiology International. And it changed how I understand the entire conversation about blood pressure timing. The study followed over 3,000 patients with hypertension for more than 5 years. Half took their blood pressure medication in the morning, half took it at bedtime. Same medications, same doses, different timing. The group that took their medication at bedtime had a 66% lower risk of cardiovascular death, a 44% lower risk of heart attack, a 40% lower risk of stroke. Let that sink in for a moment. The difference was not the drug. The difference was the timing. Because nighttime blood pressure, the pressure your heart works against during the hours when your body is supposed to be recovering, turned out to be the number that mattered most. Now, here is why this is relevant to what you drink before bed. If nighttime blood pressure is the most predictive cardiovascular measure, then anything that genuinely supports that overnight pressure reduction is not a minor lifestyle choice. It is cardiovascular strategy. And the fifth drink, the one I want to leave you with tonight, is warm water with potassium. Here's the mechanism. Potassium directly counteracts sodium's blood pressure elevating effect. The kidneys use potassium to excrete excess sodium overnight, and most adults over 60 are chronically low in potassium, not because they eat poorly, but because aging kidneys excrete it more rapidly than younger kidneys do. Think of it like a drain that only works when the right chemical is present. Sodium is the water filling the sink. Potassium opens the drain. Without enough potassium, the sodium level, and the pressure it creates, stays high overnight. The action. Dissolve a 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar, which is potassium bitartrate, one of the most concentrated natural potassium sources available, in a large glass of warm water. Drink it 60 minutes before bed. Not a potassium supplement, not a sports drink. Specifically, cream of tartar, dissolved in warm water, because this form is immediately bioavailable and does not require digestion to enter circulation. It is the same compound, just delivered differently. Write this down. 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar. Large warm glass of water. 60 minutes before bed. Please, if you are on blood pressure medication or have kidney disease, speak with your physician before adding significant potassium to your routine. Potassium is powerful. In the right amount and in the right person, it is one of the most cardiovascularly protective minerals available. In the wrong context, it requires medical supervision. That is the part most appointments do not have time to explain. Not that potassium is dangerous, but that the context matters, and you deserve to know the context. Let me bring all 5 of these together for you now. Drink 1. Hibiscus tea. 1 strong cup, 1 hour before bed. Because the anthocyanins in hibiscus act on the aldosterone ACE pathway, supporting your body's ability to release sodium rather than retain it overnight. Drink 2. Tart Cherry Juice. 8 ounces of unsweetened Montmorency cherry juice, 90 minutes before bed. Because it provides natural melatonin and vascular anti-inflammatories that support deep sleep architecture. And deep sleep is when your blood pressure dip happens. Drink 3. Warm magnesium water. 200 to 300 milligrams of magnesium glycinate or citrate dissolved in warm water 30 minutes before bed. Because magnesium is what tells your blood vessel walls to relax, and without it, they stay partially contracted all night. Drink 4, warm golden milk. 1 cup with turmeric, black pepper, and ginger, 45 minutes before bed. Because chronic vascular inflammation is a sustained blood pressure driver, and curcumin is one of the best-studied natural compounds for reducing it over time. Drink 5, warm cream of tartar water. 1/4 teaspoon in a large glass of warm water, 60 minutes before bed. Because potassium opens the overnight sodium clearance pathway your kidneys depend on, and most adults over 60 are running low on it. You do not have to do all of these at once. Pick the one that resonated with you most deeply today. Start there. Just 1 drink. This week. That is how real transformation begins. I want to say something to you before we close. Living with blood pressure concerns is exhausting in a way that is hard to explain to someone who has not experienced it. The readings that greet you every morning, the medication schedule, the quiet worry that sits underneath ordinary days. You are managing something real, and you are doing it thoughtfully, which is why you are here. The research on nighttime blood pressure and cardiovascular outcomes is among the most compelling in all of modern cardiology, and what it tells us, clearly, consistently, is that what happens while you sleep is not passive. Your body is working, and the conditions you create before sleep either support that work or obstruct it. You now have 5 specific, evidence-informed ways to support it. The capacity for your cardiovascular system to recover, adapt, and function better is not reserved for younger people. The biology does not work that way. The door is still open. Take care of your heart tonight, because it has been taking care of you every moment of every day, and it deserves the same in return. If this video gave you something valuable today, please do one thing for me. Not for the channel, for the person sitting next to you, or the person on the other end of your phone. Share this video with one person over 60 in your life who checks their blood pressure every morning and wonders why the number never quite gets where it should be. You might not know it, but that simple act could genuinely change their health. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do it now. I post every week with the same goal, to give you real science in plain language that you can actually use. And when you're ready, click the video on your screen right now. It covers the 5 foods that are silently raising your blood pressure before breakfast, and at least 3 of them are on most healthy eating lists. Things you would never suspect. I'll see you there. Take good care.